Okay, so here we are with the first in a special series where we're going to be unboxing the Spin Master Batman Forever Retro Collection. And we're going to start with Two-Face. As you can see, this was a Target exclusive. Here's what the back of the package looks like. Got cross-sell artwork of the figures, Two-Face, Batman, Robin, and the Riddler, and also a tease for Superman, which is going to be based on the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Apparently, the figures in that assortment, from what I understand, are Superman, Lex Luthor, General Zod, Nuclear Man, and Supergirl, the Helen Slater version of Supergirl. That's the first time she's ever been made into an action figure, so I'm really excited about that. But and apparently they're also planning on doing a Michael Keaton Batman wave, so should be some cool stuff. But this is the first wave of any of these retro figures that they're doing, and they certainly made some interesting choices. So this is not going to be just an unboxing. This is also going to be a comparison. And the reason I'm starting with Two-Face is because I actually happen to have a carded Kenner Two-Face figure, so we can see how similar the packaging is. See how it's got that beam of light that's yellow in the center and kind of fades into green and then blue, and then the Batman Forever emblem up in the corner. So you can see how they oh, and he's even got a little piece of cardboard down at the bottom with the character's name on it. So you can see how they did make some attempt to echo the packaging of the original Batman Forever figures, but they did make some changes. You can see that the Batman Forever logo here is just directly above the bubble, where here it's kind of off to the side, and they used the proper font from the poster, whereas they just used a font that looked kind of like that font for whatever reason. And then on the back, again, it has cross-sell artwork with all the other figures in that wave, and even some of the vehicles and role-play accessories on there. So not the Batmobile, though. It's just got Robin's cycle. So I've got all of the vintage figures that these figures are based off of, so we can compare. I'm not going to open this one up. This is staying in the package. And the reason this is staying in the package is that the whole reason I bought this was because I wanted to get the Two-Face coin, because I don't know what happened to my Two-Face coin. I'd held on to it for a long time, and hopefully it's just packed up somewhere where I can't get to it. But yeah, I wanted to get another Two-Face coin, and the cheapest way to get one on eBay was just to buy a carded figure. This only cost me like $10. So so yeah, I'm going to keep them in the package so that I can make sure that I don't lose that coin. But since I didn't know this at the time that they were going to release these, since I do happen to have a carded Two-Face, we can see what they look like next to each other. And you can see that this Two-Face is firing off his cannon and flipping his coin and firing his gun. He's not flipping his coin, but yeah, he's got a gun molded into his hand. We'll have a look at that in a second. I've got a loose one so we can look at, but he's firing the cannon, and it's a nice dramatic picture. This picture is nice too, but it does kind of point out the differences between how artwork is done these days and back in the old days. As you can tell, this is like hand painted, whereas this is more sort of digital. Lone Dragon says, yeah, we all remember the Gatling plunger launcher from the movie. Yeah, it wasn't in the movie, but it was a fun accessory. Can't deny that. So, I do remember that it packed a wallop as far as firing off those missiles. But yeah, I'll go ahead and set this aside now, since we've been over that. I do also have a loose Two-Face, so don't worry, we will have a loose Kenner Two-Face to compare. So let's see, is there any, there's no bio or anything on the back, so let's go ahead and open them up, and we can talk about some of the changes they made when they made this new version of Two-Face, this new old version of Two-Face. All right. Now, we've opened one of these figures before because we opened the Batmobile, and we had the Batman figure that came with that. So this is the second one of these I've opened. If you haven't seen the Batmobile video, you can still go back and watch it. It's pretty good. So mostly it looks like they reused the sculpt from the original Two-Face figure. And what I suspect that they did is they just kind of like digitally scanned this and then made whatever changes they wanted to make or felt they needed to make to the sculpt once it was scanned. Now, the main difference in terms of the paint job and the main improvement that I think they made to this figure is you can see that they actually have the jacket properly painted in the back. So that's good. But they also have some other inconsistencies with the movie versions, shall we say? Like they gave him black hair, which that's good because the original one had kind of like this uh, auburn sort of color, which is not the hair color he had in the movie. I never understood why his hair was that color. But they also made his hair on the scarred side black, where it should be purple. So it's we traded one inaccuracy for another. Also, it looks to me like I've always thought that it looks like, yeah, Two-Face on the original Kenner figure, the torso is molded in black plastic and has the purple painted onto it. And this looks like it's the reverse. It looks like the torso is molded in purple plastic and has all the black stuff painted onto it, which is weird because you see that the the black stripes are much more sort of robust, I guess you'd say, than the purples. This one clearly looks like it's black stripes on purple. This one almost looks like it's purple stripes on black because the black stripes are just so plentiful on the arms and the legs, the arm and the leg. He's only got one on that side. And the other thing you notice is that while the original Kenner Two-Face had the gun sculpted into his hand, that is a non-removable gun. That's a sticking point for some people, but I never minded because one, we did not want Two-Face to have a gun, honestly. So I was always fine with that. But DC being weird about guns these days, they had to resculpt this hand to just be a regular fist. And that's another improvement that's made to the paint job here is that he now has a glove, which he was always supposed to have a glove. But there's one glaring flaw to this paint job, other than the hair that I pointed out earlier, is that you see he doesn't have the lapel of his jacket, which is colored white in this version. In the movie, it's actually kind of like a holographic foil kind of thing, whereas here it's just the same as the rest of his jacket. So swing and a miss on that one. But the worst thing about this Two-Face figure, if you haven't noticed it already, is this giant mitt. Like, look how big that hand is. That is an enormous hand. Like, let's hold it next to the hand on the original Two-Face figure, and you can see just how much bigger that thing is. Look at that. Did he get stung by a bee? Did he have an allergic reaction to some shellfish? What happened here? Why is his hand so big? And I can understand them resculpting the hand with the gun in it, because again, DC be weird about guns these days. But why did they even have to resculpt this hand? This hand is perfectly fine. Oh, sure, it's got a trigger finger, but it doesn't actually have a gun in it. Like, and I always kind of liked the way that they sculpted this hand, because it almost made me kind of think of him like flipping the coin, So that always followed. It's this pimp hand. Yeah, it might as well be. The thing that I actually think about when I see this hand, this enormous hand, and it looks even bigger on screen looking at it, like it looks bigger than his head. It's not really bigger than his head. It's only the same size as his head. Jesus, it's huge. Like, seriously, like look at it next to the head on the vintage figure. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it's the same size as his head. But yeah, they could have just left that hand alone and it would have been fine. So I was thinking when I first saw these were coming out about buying a lot of these for customs, for superpowers, because like, even though I do have some of these extra that I'm going to use for some superpowers customs, like I didn't necessarily want to have characters with guns molded in their hands for that. So when I saw this guy had a fist, I'm like, oh, cool, I can just use that one. I don't have to worry about replacing that hand. But now I have to worry about replacing this hand because it's ginormous. So yeah, I think I'll probably just get more of these. Here's the funny thing about this: he doesn't come with any accessories, so it's really like just the figure. That's it. So you can get a loose vintage Kenner Two Face pretty easily on eBay for less than $10. So about the same price that you would pay for this guy at Target, you can just go ahead and get the vintage figure. And frankly, even though, like I said, I think there are a couple of things that they did better on this one. Like he's actually got a glove, and he's actually got the back of his jacket painted. Those are both good things. I still think that this figure overall is a better figure. So even like you're gonna have to take the good with the bad either way, and it's Two Face, so maybe that's kind of appropriate. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. So Two Face's head can rotate all the way around at the neck, and his arms, of course, rotate all the way around at the shoulders. And then his legs can kick up about that far, which is pretty good range of motion for a middle-aged district attorney. I'm just saying, I can't kick that far. The other leg doesn't quite kick as far though. And since he is based on a '90s figure, he does have like kind of a stance sculpted into him. Not as extreme as on a lot of '90s figures, but still, he's still got like a little bit of a stance. And actually, I think he's got a little bit of a wider stance than the vintage figure even. So that's kind of funny. So yeah, it being worth picking up is going to depend on, I guess, how much of a completist you are as far as collecting action figures goes. And I'm pretty sure anybody who's like a big fan of Batman Forever is going to want to have these, because you don't get that much Batman Forever merchandise anymore. I mean, McFarlane just did their wave of multiverse figures that were awesome, and even a Batmobile for those. And of course, I've got all those. You can see those unboxing videos on my channel. But yeah, if you've already got this figure, you basically already got a better version of this figure. So unless you're just a completist, I don't know if there's really much point in getting this guy. So that's pretty much it for this episode. There's not a whole lot else to talk about with him. It's not a bad figure, but like I said, not quite as good as the original Kenner figure. So next episode, I think we're going to open up the Riddler. And here is my vintage Jim Carrey Riddler figure. You can see he's got his brain drain backpack. So we'll talk more about that once we get into the next episode. So we'll do the Riddler next. I think the Riddler is probably going to be the weakest of this series, so we might as well go ahead and get him out of the way. And then we can move on to Robin, and then finally Batman we'll be saving for last. And then time permitting this week, I'd like to open at least one more DC Multiverse figure. We'll just have to wait and see which one that is. But yeah, I'm really disappointed in how big that hand is, honestly. So when I saw it in the store, I was just like, Jesus, that hand is huge. But I mainly I got it because I wanted to do this video. I wanted to do this whole series of videos because I thought it'd be interesting to talk about. But that's it for this one. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Two-Face, both the figure and the character in general. I do, like I said, have a number of the original Two-Face figures. I've been buying them off eBay whenever I can find them for a good price, and this one's actually kind of beat up. So he's definitely one that's going to get used for a custom. One of the figures that I was thinking of making was actually repainting this figure just to be the comic book version of Two-Face, because I thought that would be pretty cool, with the kind of purple and orange suit. And I made a Superpowers scale Two-Face that was one that I 3D printed a while back, but I'd like to have one that's made from a factory-made action figure because they're a little sturdier. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.